choosing the right cat feeding stations for multiple cats can be a challenge for pet owners. With multiple cats in the household, it is crucial to create a feeding environment that promotes harmony and ensures that each feline receives their fair share of food. In this article, we will discuss some essential factors to consider when choosing cat feeding stations for multiple cats. First and foremost, it is important to consider the number of cats in your household. If you have 2 cats, for example, you will need at least 2 feeding stations to avoid any potential conflict or competition during meal times. Each cat should have its own designated area where they can eat in peace. The size and design of the feeding station are also important considerations. Cats prefer to eat in a quiet and secluded space. Therefore, it is recommended to choose feeding stations that are appropriately sized and provide privacy for each cat. This can be achieved through the use of individual feeding bowls or by using larger feeding stations with dividers to create separate eating spaces. Additionally, the material of the feeding station is worthy of consideration. Cats are known to be sensitive to certain materials, so it is important to select feeding stations made from cat-friendly materials. Ceramic or stainless steel feeding bowls are popular choices as they are easy to clean and do not retain odors. Avoid using plastic feeding stations as they can harbor bacteria and may cause allergic reactions in some cats. The location of the feeding stations within your home is another factor to take into account. Cats prefer to eat in quiet areas away from heavy foot traffic and loud noises. Place the feeding stations in a calm and secluded location where each cat can eat undisturbed. Avoid placing them near the litter box as cats prefer to keep their eating and elimination areas separate. Another consideration when choosing cat feeding stations for multiple cats is the feeding schedule. Cats have different eating habits, and some cats tend to overeat while others prefer to graze throughout the day. If you have cats with different feeding preferences, it is advisable to choose individual feeding stations or use timed feeders to ensure each cat receives the appropriate amount of food. Furthermore, it is important to take into account the dietary needs of each cat. Some cats may require specialized diets due to health conditions such as allergies or kidney disease. If this is the case, it is recommended to consult with your veterinarian to determine the best feeding stations and feeding methods for your cat's specific dietary requirements. In households with dominant or aggressive cats, it may be necessary to implement a feeding hierarchy. This can be achieved by setting up the feeding stations in a way that allows the more dominant cats to eat first, while the less dominant cats eat afterwards. This helps to prevent any potential conflicts during meal times. Regular cleaning and maintenance of the feeding stations are essential to ensure the cat's health and well-being. Wash the feeding bowls daily to prevent the buildup of bacteria and food residue. Additionally, make sure to monitor the condition of the feeding stations and replace any damaged or worn-out parts to avoid any potential injuries to the cats. In conclusion, choosing the right cat feeding stations for multiple cats requires careful consideration of various factors including the number of cats, the size and design of the feeding stations, the material used, the location within the home, the feeding schedule, the dietary needs of each cat, and the hierarchy within the cat group. By taking these factors into account and providing each cat with their own designated feeding area, you can ensure a peaceful and harmonious mealtime for your feline companions.